Hey guys, King of Charmanders! Today I will be your judge, your jury, and your analyst, and the Great League rankings for Great League Remix rankings just officially got released. So I was wrong. So the list they gave you at the start, by wording, is the actual list. But this is good because this means I have solid rankings and data very, very early. So we're going to explore the rankings and I'm gonna go into it, but it's pretty similar to my early analysis, but my early analysis actually didn't have the poison buff in it. So you're in for a treat because a lot of them are really good in the Great League Remix. I should call it 2.0, but Great League Remix Season 8. Anyways, as I always say, please consider contributing to PvPoke.com using this link right here. So, as you see here, you got a rankings, and then we're gonna... Oh, hello, internet. Okay, there you go. Come on, dude. You're slower than every one of my GBL battles. Well, not really. If it was this slow, dang. But as you see, Great League and Ultra League Remix rankings are available. So, here we go with the Great League Remix. And now I will analyze overall leads, closers, and switches as usual. Anyways, let's get started. Alright, so here we have the overall rankings. Remember, these are taken from the One Shield. So... the One Shield is basically one-on-ones, which is most of the analysis from PvPoke.com, so this is overall, but I still think overall these are really good rankings, and guess what takes the top of the list? XLs. No, literally, Diggersby and Lickitung XL are extremely powerful for the Great League Remix. Yay. If you do have an XL Diggersby like I do, rejoice, because now you can finally use it, it's really freaking good. If you don't, then... dang. Dang. That's all I have to say. But Diggersby XL is a beast. As you see here, it does very, very well against a lot of combinations. Scroll down below over here. It is actually the number 1 lead, and it's extremely powerful. So we'll see that shortly, but yeah, like XL, as much as I hate to say it, you know what, they should really just ban XLs from the beginning. You know, if you guys ever watch the Avengers, Niantic should really have a Thor's hammer of a PvP team and really try to get it together when it comes to rankings, because this is dumb. I don't think Diggersby or Lickitung should be allowed in this cup. Or XLs in general. Just in my opinion. Just my opinion. Anyways, as you see here, Registeel is also very powerful. For those of you that are asking me if Registeel is a great long-term investment, they're out in raids right now. So you should totally get them, because in a lot of future cups, Registeel is looking to be really good, especially since Registeel got Focus Blast's base damage back. It was nerfed by 10%, by 10 damage, and then it came back. I don't see any reason why it should have been nerfed in the first place, but you know what? Niantic on Niantic. So, as you see, Registeel is number 2, followed by Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is really good for 2 reasons. Like, if you look at it, ground and fighting types are really good in this meta, or rather ground and ghost types. So Mandibuzz pretty much is a great coverage mon for both of those reasons. It's also pretty decent as a switch and can cause pressure and is very bulky. Now remember I was talking about the poison buff? Well, guess what is number 5 and number 7 respectively? Nidoqueen, yes. Nidoqueen and poison types are incredibly powerful for this cup. They'll do really well for the reason that when you ban things like G-Fisk and you ban a lot of like flyers like Pelipper, etc., that means ground doesn't have a lot of weaknesses or targets. So that means poison's going to do very, very well in this cup, as you see here. In fact, Shadow Nidoqueen neutralizes a whole lot of things outside of the grass and water archetype. Even though the grass and water archetype will threaten you because Jellicent and Wishcash, a lot of them, remember, you know, ghosts resist poison. You guys watch my usual videos. Yeah, ghost resist poison, etc. So basically anything that resists poison will give you a bit of a hard time. However, that doesn't mean the debuff isn't there to stay. Thankfully, Nidoqueen is here to neutralize a lot of those fighters as well as Charmers. Because if it wasn't for Nidoqueen and the poison types, guess what would be ranked a lot higher? Charmers. So, thank the poison buff for its ability to neutralize one of the most brain-dead strategies in all of Go Battle League, which is Charmers. So overall, still very good. As you see, XLs dominate 4 out of the 10 archetypes, with things like Regirock and Whiscash actually taking in the top 10. So overall, the reason why Regirock is really good is because of its ability to generate energy and break shield, so it's going to be in the top rankings. Same thing with Whiscash. Poison's really good, so is Steel type. So when you put Poison Steel together, what do you get? You get Daddy Cash. Daddy or Mommy Cash is here to steal all of your money and take everything you have, every penny with interest. So make sure you pay up, because your eel is going to pay up for sure if you get hit with Whiscash. Well, if you don't have counters, etc. Another interesting thing is, as you go down the list, things like Wireless, Jellicent again is really good. Steelix is also really good. The Dragon Tail buff did make its way through a little bit. I still don't foresee Steelix being a beast just because things like there are things like Jellicent, Registeel running. There's better Steel. There's basically better things you can run in place of Steelix. However, Steelix is really good for the sheer reason that, as you see here, it's able to essentially, it's kind of like the well, when you have Steel and you have Rock, you have Registeel, guess what? Double resist everything. Nidoqueen. But guess what happens? If you get Earthquake by Nidoqueen, you die. It's that simple. So it's kind of like the anti-psychic and poison type. So it's kind of like kind of anti-meta. Other than that, there's a whole, like, overall, as you see here, XLs are still very dominant, and XLs are still here to stay. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have a lot of these built, but if a lot of you were really focused and practicing with Nidoqueen, rejoice, because again, the poison type overall will be very dominant in the Great League Remix. Alright, so here are the leads. As you see here, Diggersby as you saw before, is the #1 lead. Followed by Jellicent, and guess what is also a really fantastic lead for this cup? Freaking Pidgeot. Pidgeot with Feather Dance, when it comes off of its ban, because it wasn't banned, is extremely powerful. In fact, it beats a lot of things in this cup, and there's a lot of strategies you could do with Pidgeot. You could potentially sacrifice it and then run it into a lot of what you see here and just wipe it out, but there's nothing in this cup that really, like, beats Pidgeot super hard. As you 600 rating isn't bad, especially what's going to come out of this is you're going to debuff them to oblivion. So as you see, Feather Dance still has a massive effect. So there's the poison typings. As you see, the Pidgeot plus and the Pidgeot's Feather Dance new move, as well as the poison buff, really buffed a lot of things. And as you see here, it's pretty interesting to see how, like, the new meta has really changed Great League Remix. Magnezone is also a fantastic lead. The reason why is because it has a lot of shield pressure, it resists the poison types, and of course, when you wild charge something, it hurts a lot. So it's going to do a ton of damage. That's why it's a great league. Magnezone can also be used to break shields and eventually just wipe out your opponent. So again, shield breaker strats are very real, and there's not a lot of things that resist Magnezone since things like Bastion and G-Fist are banned. So Machamp, I predicted, would also be a fantastic lead. As you see here, yes, it's going to punch you in the face. A lot of the cross choppers will be very, very effective in this lead. And as you see here, so is Beedrill. So a lot of the newer buffed Pokemon are very, very good in this cup. Obama is also very good just because it's able to take down Nidoqueen, etc. However, if you have a Shadow Nidoqueen, you could probably you can run through with Poison. A Shadow Nidoqueen will run through Obama Snow pretty handily because of the overall damage output. But Obama Snow is a great mon for the purpose of being able to beat Shadow Champ with energy advantage on the one shield, as well as be kind of the kryptonite for the water, with the water slash ground slash ghost, or just the water meta in general, as you see here. So it's very, very strong. As you see here, a lot of other picks that take the top 20 are going to be, of course, Charmers. Shadow Charmers, I don't expect to see them too much because you can just wipe them out with Poison types, but if you don't see one, Charm is still pretty oppressive in this cup. Just because Charm 2 Shield can still possibly run through a lot of combinations, and since Granbull now has a Shadow version, why is this allowed? You could 2 Shield your way through a lot of things, but again, they're not going to be super oppressive, especially with the Poison type archetypes being around, and Pidgeot with Feather Dance has a good time with Charmer. Not really, but it'll debuff them and make you want to shield. So again, things like Snowy Castform, Whiscash, Primate, just because of freaking counters, just really, really good. And of course Steelix. So a lot of variety here, and a lot of really interesting things, but again, Diggersby does dominate as #1. Jellicent and Pidgeot are really good, and a lot of the buff Pokemon are very strong leads for this cup. So if you're used to using them now, it's going to be pretty easy for you to get used to the Great League Remix. And now we have the safe switches, and guess what's the #1 safe switch? Safe switch. It's safe switch. Okay, I think I said it right. All right, I got it. Got the enunciation. You know, make sure you enunciate. I'm just kidding. Just make sure you get it right. Anyways, your biggest or most strongest safe switch are actually the poison archetypes, which is freaking hilarious. Drapion is the #1 safe switch for good reason, because Drapion, as you see here, with the Poison Sting, like, energy buff, lets it get to Aqua Tail in only 4 moves. Drapion's able to cover a lot of the Poison archetype, as you see here, as well as be able to resist things like Cresselia, etc. So, because it can resist the Psychic typing, it's very, very powerful. And because of its ability to spam moves now, and because of the shadow damage from Aqua Tail and Sludge Bomb, you can actually take out things like Machamp. Other Poison types, like I saw here, give the Charm archetype its worst nightmare, and of course take out Abomasnow, which is weak to poison. Grass is weak to poison, get it? The only thing that Drapion does suffocate against is Wishcash. However, this isn't necessarily that bad because you can pressure with Aqua Tail and give up Drapion, etc. There's a lot of things you could do. And of course with poison, with a water / poison type moveset, Jellicent is your best friend against Drapion, because well, it's kind of really weird because the reason why Drapion has only a 532 rating is because you resist Hex. Yes, Jellicent will wall you, but you resist Hex, so you also resist Shadow Ball, so it's a very interesting predicament you're in if you face a Jellicent. So you're kind of resisting each other, for most part, unless Jellicent does have, well, it's going to have Ice Beam or Bubble Beam, but either or, it depends. As you see here, Shadow Nidoqueen and regular Nidoqueen are also the #1 save switches. Poor being that they're able to debuff your opponent. However, I wouldn't, even though they're really, really good, I'd be very careful because things like Jellicent and Wishcash are very dangerous. As you see, Jellicent and Wishcash have very comfortable ratings against Nidoqueen and against Nidoqueen and Drapion. More Drapion than Nidoqueen, because Nidoqueen you can threaten with Earth Power. Earth Power will do big damage, however 700 rating is a very, very dominant rating, so be very careful. And that's why Diggersby is the #1 lead as well. Ground typings will do very well because of their ability to take down poison types. The other thing is that, yes, you have poisons available, however, Hypno can also give you an issue. Hypno wasn't actually banned for this cup, as you see here, so Hypno can give you a... Hypno is a pretty good switch, but it can also give you a hard time if you get lined up against one. As you see here, Diggersby is still a beast. Cresselia, like I mentioned before, is a fantastic safe switch. Cresselia is really good for the sheer reason it's able to take down basically what... So, Cresselia beats the poison types, as well as Blanket beats Wishcash, Jellicent. Yes, Jellicent does have Hex, however, Grass Knot is pretty fast, and you can take down Jellicent pretty comfortably, especially Wishcashes. Wishcashes will hate to get Grass Knotted. Essentially, they'll get one shot. Shadow Champ, Obstagoon, and other things like Abomasnow also have a hard time, which is why Registeel is still very, very powerful. Yes, Registeel can get hit by a Earth Power and take heavy damage, etc. However, Registeel effectively walls Cresselia, so that's why Registeel looking mad good. And even then, like I mentioned before with Jellicent, even though you can beat it, still has a pretty strong rating against you. 526 isn't too bad, so if you face a Jellicent, you can possibly beat it down with Grass Knot, but it really depends on energy, etc. I don't know why Sableye wasn't banned, because as you see here, Sableye is a really good safe switch. So is Lickitung XL. So Lickitung XL is very powerful for the fact that it's able... There's not a lot of things that neutralize Lickitung XL in this meta. It's pretty neutral across the board, and there's not a lot of things outside of Shadow Champ or Pseudo Fighters, which are like Obstagoon, that's going to give you a very, very hard time. Do keep in mind is that Pidgeot can destroy you just because it resists Lick. So... Gonna Feather Dance you to death, but as you see here, Lickitung with Power Up is a great monster for the ability to basically beat Jellicent and Wishcash. I think, in my opinion, even though the rankings put out, I think Lickitung XL is probably the most powerful safe switch, just for the fact that it has such great neutral matchups and really gives most of everything a hard time. As you see here, because of its bulk and ability, it's able to beat Sableye and Nidoqueen, as well as Cresselia. Basically, it can beat a whole ton of safe switches on this list, just because of its ability to essentially body slam you to oblivion. As well as Sableye XL. So, Sableye, I have no idea how Sableye dodged the top, like, if you put Ace through Legend, a lot of people were using safe switch Sableye, or leading with it. I have no idea how Sableye did not get banned. Yes, it could be because of accessibility terms, which I completely understand, but if you're looking at those top 4, Sableye was used a lot. So, it's very interesting how Sableye dodged a bullet, but it's also still an incredible safe switch. Sableye XL, if it weren't for Lickitung XL and Diggersby, as you see here, or even the Dark Archetypes in Obstagoon and Mandibuzz, Sableye would be a freaking destroyer. But Sableye can just get targeted way too much by what I mentioned before. So, if it wasn't for Lickitung XL, Sableye would be running rampant, but I have no idea how it wasn't banned in the first place. Either way, Sableye is still very, very good. If you're used to using Sableye Safe Switch, it operates pretty much the same as it does here. You return for victory, and you Shadow Claw down, or you win the Safe Switch method, and you're going to claw down and foul play your way to victory. Other Safe Switches that made it here, Dragaggle. I wouldn't use a Dragaggle just because there are better, literally better things out there that don't require you to spend all your Stardust on something like this. But, as you see here, things like Zangoose is also a powerful Safe Switch. Zangoose is very interesting because it's able to close combat the crap out of a lot of things, and it does give it gives the Jellicent archetype a hard time, but it also gives you a hard time against other normal types. So it's very, very interesting. But other than that, a lot of things that made it to this list. If you love Snorlax, Snorlax is great. Snorlax is great for as long as you dodge Machamp, but you could still lose against a whole bunch of things, but Snorlax is good. You got Celio. Mandibuzz is really good if you're able to catch Jellicent. Wishcash, of course, like I was talking about. That's why Mandibuzz overall is still very powerful. You can catch a lot of different combinations with the Mandibuzz if you have it as a switch or as your closer. And of course you have random things like Crustle and Lucario. Lucario is really good just because of Shadow Ball. Literally, it's just because of Shadow Ball. If you hit a Shadow Ball on a Jellicent, it hurts a lot. And of course, Lucario can rev up with Power Up Punch. So that's why Lucario is still very beastly. Very random, but it's a beast in this cup. Alrighty, last but not least, we have the closers, and guess what the closers are? Remember when I was doing the closers before and I recommended you get the Reggies? Guess what? The Reggies are the most powerful closers. Yeah. I mean, I said this in the early analysis, but for those of you that did take my advice and started raiding Reggies, you're way ahead of the pack. Unfortunately, you can't raid a Regice or Regirock for Great League. It has to be from research. And for some odd reason, we haven't gotten either of these two behemoths in a very long time. I have a rock, but I don't have an ice. So this was just me hoarding from a very long time ago, and I don't know why it's not available now. Other than that, things like Registeel is very, very strong. Registeel you can raid for right now and get, so I do recommend you get one or power one up because long term it's going to be very useful in the future. Registeel is just so good, especially with Focus Blast being debuffed, that Flash Cannon can KO a lot of things. Focus Blast has its own nuking ability again, so it's going to nuke a lot of things. It's very, very strong for this cup. As you see, it closes out against a lot of different things. Ice, it can even close out against Nidoqueen just because Flash Cannon hurts like a mother. Sableye will get deleted, so will Cresselia. Of course, Cresselia, as I mentioned before, gets walled, etc. Now, if Registeel doesn't have one of its weaknesses against, as you see, Mandibuzz, Diggersby, etc., basically most ground types, then it's gonna go to town against you. Jellicent is also very powerful against Registeel for the sheer fact that Jellicent essentially walls Registeel. So, Jellicent can wall Registeel, that's why it's such a great safe switch. But even then, Registeel is still a beast. If you don't have a ground type, or any of these below, or a Jellicent, Registeel is gonna do a lot of damage. Which is why Regice is the #1 closer. So statistically, both 8 and Registeel are #1. However, the reason why Regice is so good is 1, it beats Registeel because it has Earthquake, but 2, it just has such fantastic coverage against a multitude of combinations. You can take out Wishcash, you can take out with Earthquake, literally Earthquake is able to delete a majority of the meta. So that's why Regice is a destroyer. And with Blizzard, Blizzard allows you to take down a lot of the ground type archetype. Blizzard also allows you to take out a lot of things that don't resist it because you get stabbed with Regice. And of course, because of lock on, you generate energy quickly. Which is why, as you see here, your key losses incorporate fire. Because the only thing that really oppresses Regice are these 3 above, Sableye, Bombstone, Obstagoon. And of course, anything that lights it on fire. Or basically, the only reason these 2 are really good is because Obama Snow does resist essentially. Obama Snow resists Blizzard. I mean, it doesn't resist it. It can eat a Blizzard basically. But Sableye takes you out as well as Obstagoon just because Obstagoon has counter. Ice is weak to fighting. We know that. And for some odd reason, Electivire Shatter is still an incredibly powerful closer. Electivire is very interesting. You can nuke a lot of the... outside of the ground types, this thing will essentially destroy nearly everything else. As you see here, it will deal an obscene amount of damage. The reason why Wishcast does so well is, like I mentioned, if it doesn't resist electric types, then you're probably going to run through a whole different combinations. But that's why Shadow Electivire is still really good. You still won't see a lot of people use it. I don't recommend you do use it because you'll likely see a lot of poison types and ground types. Well, poison ground to be exact. Or just ground types in general. Regirock is still powerful. Focus Blast will do a ton of damage. But also Stone Edge and Focus Blast does very well against a lot of different combinations. Outside of that, Diggersby is still really strong. You have Hitmontop because of Stone Edge. Stone Edge is able to cover the flying archetype as you see here. So, of course, fighters are weak to flying, so that's why you can cover a lot of different combinations. Still not the best thing in the world though. I wouldn't use a Hitmontop if I had one. Some Dark Horses, Extra Drill can be really good in the closer because of Drill Run, Rock Slide. Drill Run takes out the poison types. Rock Slide takes out a lot of the ice, as in like Obamasto, Regice, etc. However, what makes it kind of iffy is that even though you charge a lot of things, like Extra Drill can lose to a whole bunch of, like Extra Drill can get one shot by a Focus Blast by Registeel. Extra Drill can still lose to really tanky mons like Mandibuzz. And things like Cresselia, even though you do resist Cycle Cut because it's not super bulky. Mandibuzz is a fantastic closer. If you like Mandibuzz, Mandibuzz will do well for you. Will beat a lot of different combinations, as you see here. And a lot of different things. Frostless is really good for this cup. Just because Dark is still allowed, or Dark and especially Sableye running around is still very, very strong. Frostless can be very powerful to cup, but it doesn't rate as high just because there's a lot of things in this cup that can counter it. As you see, you still lose to Jellicent. Jellicent resists your Powder Snow, and it will Shadow Ball you to death. Yes, one Shadow Ball will KO Frostless. It sucks a lot. Things like Wishcash, Alomomola. This is super random. I'm not going to cover it. Most of you don't have an Alomomola. Alomomola. Most of you don't. Yeah, okay, I'm done. Anyways, as you see here, Quagsire, Wobbuffet, etc. Very, very strong. But the Regis are here to stay, and they are of the top closers. As XLs, Diggersby and Chansey are really good because of their supreme bulk and ability to just essentially just like Psychic or Hyper Beam things to death. So Chansey, if you want to have some fun, looking really good for this cup. But as you see here, very, very expensive options or very, very weird options, either or. A majority of your closers are legendaries, shadows, or XLs. So it really sucks. It's very expensive as a closer, but Registeel going Registeel. So if you like Registeel, then La Basura, the trash can, it is still very, very powerful, and I do recommend you get one and build one for the future. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was greatly... The rankings didn't move too much, at least before the Poison rankings came out. As you see, Poison... Again, the Poison types are very, very powerful for the Great League Remix. And so is Pidgeot. So if you do have those built and you want to use them, they're going to be really, really good for this cup. Registeel is something you should probably look out for if you want to raid one or build one for the future. It's going to have a long-term investment in a lot of different cups like this where it dodges the bullet from bans. And it's just really good. It's really, really good. Just putting it out there. It's super good. Anyways, again, Registeel, Poison types, a lot of the buffs really did have an effect on the Great League Remix. Unfortunately, a lot of things that compromise, like I said, of the Great League Remix are XLs, big XLs, 10, 12k hatches to be exact. And again, but the good thing is like the buff Pokemon really did make an impact, and this cup looks to be a lot of fun because a lot of the Charmers, like, even though Charm can be used, I wouldn't use it because there's a lot of things that will kill Charm. Especially with the Poison hype being so real, you can expect to see a lot of Poison types being used because all of them literally dodge the bullet as far as the Banhammer goes. Again, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. All you have to do to subscribe is literally just... you see that little box on the bottom right? All you have to do is put your mouse over it, and you can easily subscribe by clicking on the tab that pops up and says subscribe. For those of you that are already subscribed, I really do appreciate you, but please consider doing if you have not, just because it's totally free. Subscribing doesn't hurt, totally free, and it helps me for my goals for the future. Thank you so much, you guys, for your support. I hope this analysis did really help you out and get you ready for the Great League Remix for Season 8. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, good luck on Gible Community Day, and I will see you guys on the next video.